Most people that listen to this podcast or watch it, they're like, I have something good to offer the world, but how do I get it in front of people?
I had no audience when I started, and I was just forced to ask the question of, okay, how do I quickly make money? With paid ads, for me, the first day that I had started getting sales, it was $60. And I had made like $80. And so then the next day I spent $80, and then I made like 120, and then I spent 120, and I made like 200, and I just kept reinvesting it. And by the end of the month, I'd spent about $12K, but I'd made about $40,000, just straight ad to funnel.
Since you've started, how much have you made in business?
Almost $10 million. And I didn't really build it off of organic, almost like nothing at all paid ads. Organically, you have to post lots of content. I liked the fact that I could do one piece of content and then just let that go make money for me. I haven't made a new ad in a year and a half, and we're still running it.
The basics of like running an ad, like what do you do?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like,
all right, so we're going basic. All right.
Super basic.
Let's do it.
Because most people don't know this stuff. And this is why ad agencies are overcharging people.
Okay, so if you're wanting to run an ad.
Kristine, thanks for being on the department.
Thank you, Omar.
You said you've built your business on paid ads, which we'll unpack. But since you've started, how much have you made in business?
Oh, okay. So since I started in 2019 in online business.
Yeah.
So we've done about 2 million a year. So what, about 5-6 years. So almost $10 million. Wow.
Dang, 8-figure entrepreneur on the department.
I've never even counted that. I'm like, holy moly, because I always just think of it each year, you know, and you never think of like, how much have you brought? Okay,
that's
all right.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. You helped me realize that.
How to become an 8-figure entrepreneur
yes,
online.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so I guess I like to define things right off the gate in the podcast. Can you define, when I say paid ads,
yes,
what does that mean?
Yeah. So for me, in my business, that meant creating a video and then putting some money behind the video. And then just not, you know, like how you boost a post, not like that, but very similar if someone's watching and doesn't really understand. It's like, how do we get a video? And I didn't really build it off of organic, almost like nothing at all paid ads. So making a video, putting some money behind it, seeing what it did.
Because it's interesting, because it's as much as it's probably an old concept to you at this point, it's a fairly new concept for people who, most people that listen to this podcast or watch it, they're like, I have something good to offer the world, but how do I get it in front of people?
Right.
And I'm a big organic guy. Like I'm like, and I'm finding just getting into paid ads that having built my organic has only made the journey way smooth as far as like how much people I'm able to reach with my paid ads.
Yep.
But like, would you encourage somebody to start with paid ads or encourage them to start with organic, knowing where the world is now in the content space and all that stuff?
Yeah. You know, everyone's different, obviously. But I'll tell you why I love paid ads and why I would say, yes, it could be a really great idea for somebody. With paid ads, for me, I launched an offer online and I was very quickly able to see that people didn't want to buy it within days. Whereas in organically, you might only reach 5 people your first post. You might reach 10 people your next post. You could spend a whole year before you reach enough people to even know if you have a winning offer.
Dang.
And for me, it's like, oh, I'll know within 3 days. You know, I'll spend some money and I can know within a few days. And so when I finally found the offer, because it took me years before I ever even made my first sale online, you know, trying different things. But whenever the offer hit, I knew literally within 72 hours. And then we were able to just scale like crazy. And it was because I could get it in front of enough people fast enough to know whether it was winning. I would rather quickly know if my offer sucks so that I can create something else than to be like, oh, but maybe it just hasn't met the right crowd. Maybe enough people haven't seen it. So that's a huge advantage to knowing, to, you know, because there's two things. It's like you could have all the traffic in the world, but if you're selling like poop on a stick, like people don't want it, you know, or maybe they do. I don't know. It depends on the people, right? But I want to know whether I have a great offer as quickly as possible. I don't want to be old and rich.
Dang.
I wanted to be young and rich. So how quickly can we do it?
So years, what were those mistakes you were making?
Yeah. So
mistakes you were making in your offer or mistakes you were making in your ads?
So I wouldn't say I was making mistakes. I was learning.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yep.
So
good.
I had tried Shopify stores. I tried all these random things. I had started a kitchen supply store. I don't know why. It was called Brave Blender. It was like a blender and it had a little cape. And then I had like all these different Shopify stores. But what was amazing was during those Shopify stores, I studied paid ads. And so I was learning about paid advertising. And so I started posting things and I started saying, hey, people aren't liking this. People aren't buying it, And maybe if I had known more, maybe I could have made it, there's plenty of kitchen supply stores that are successful out there, but I was learning. And so it wasn't until like I became pregnant and me and my son's dad split up. And then I was living in this garage. I lost everything. Okay. I lost everything. And I was living in this garage and I was just forced to ask the question of, okay, how do I quickly make money? Because there's all these ways, like organically, it could take years. How long did it take for you to build yourself?
I mean, now we're coming up on 8-10 years.
10 years. And you have a solid business, but like to know whether you have, you're trying different things. And for me, it was like, what's the fastest way that I can do it? And now I have this child coming into the world that solely depends on me. And I'm living in this garage. Like it was depressing, I'm like, I got to get my act together, And so at that point, it was, all right, I'm going to, make an offer. And I had to just really think, how do I get people the fastest wins? And that was the thing. How do I solve a problem for my community? How do I solve a problem for my audience? And quickly let them know that I can solve the problem. So creating the offer where I'm solving, a problem. And then how do I let the world know what problem I solve? So those are the two elements I always say were like the most important thing for me. And just going, okay, that's it, and running with it.
So there's probably like some good, you probably know so much insight on, you probably can see a creative and be like, nah.
I'll say that I can have a pretty good gauge on whether something works or not. Like there's certain things where I'm just like, that's not gonna work at all.
Which is what right now? Like right now?
Yeah. Okay, so something that's not gonna work. So what I specialize is in funny marketing. We do funny ads. And not only do we do for our companies, but we do them for big companies. The mistake that people make when they're trying to make an ad like fun and entertaining is they forget that they're selling a product and they forget that they have to communicate to the audience what problem they solve. So they start this long skit and it's all funny and it's all this. And now you have all these people that are watching that aren't even your customer. So now it could go viral. The algorithm could say, oh, all these people are watching this. Let's keep showing it to more and more people like this. But you never said, hi, you know what problem I solved? This is the problem I solved. So I'll give you an example. Someone let's say they're a diet coach and they're like, hey, immediately I would say, if you're just starting out, a safe way to create like a winning ad would be like, are you someone that's trying to lose weight, but you don't want to be eating like kale smoothies all day? So you've let them know the problem that you solve, you help them lose weight, and you've let them know, what's the thing that you're keeping them from having to do, which I call those even if statements. Like, hey, I'm going to help you lose weight, even if you hate eating kale smoothies, even if you hate working out, even if you don't want to take Ozempic or whatever the thing is, right?
Really
so
good.
Always letting people know, I'm going to help you do this thing. Because those are the objections that people immediately go through. They're like, well, I don't want to eat kale all day, right? It's like, well, guess what? You don't have to eat kale. So immediately stating, this is what I do, even if you have all these objections. So now you've already gotten that out of the way. And now you can be fun and entertaining and do some other stuff in the videos. But people complicate what they do so easily. And this is probably 99% of what people do. If you ask what someone does, if someone asks you what you do and you start your story off with, well, back in the day, my mom, I started doing this and now I do, like, you can't even say what you do.
Right.
That's already a problem. Right. So you need to be able to say it in the first sentence. You have to be able to communicate exactly what you help them lose weight. You help them in their marriage. You help whatever it is. But a lot of people, when you ask them what they do, they go on this long, like, we help people live to their fullest in the heart of the, mentality that's in their mind, whatever it is. And you're just like, I don't even know what you do. What does that mean? That means nothing.
Right.
So what you can do is, what does that mean for someone? What's the measurable result that you help someone with? Put that in your ad. That's the most important thing. People need to know what problem you solve. What do you help them achieve?
That's good. With helping people with the funny stuff, and I see with Russell's stuff, it's like, it's funny. Here's my hedge on trying to be funny, because I'm gonna have a dry sense of humor, but there's a part of me that's like, will people take me serious if I do a funny ad? Yeah. So I hear this all the time. So it's a big one. And it's so fun because when I was younger, I remember one of the first funny ads I saw was an injury attorney, right? Is there anything funny about injury attorneys? Like, there's nothing. And I remember he was on TV and he was walking around dressed as like a little chicken. And he's like, "Baka!" And he's like, have you been injured in an accident or whatever? Baka! He's walking around. This guy was so loaded. Like, all that people remembered was that he helped you if you were injured. So it was so fun to watch it happen. And that stuck with me forever, And for now, it's like,
helped, we've made funny ads for insurance companies, for software companies. We made funny ads for a company that they actually help fight child trafficking.
Wow.
So there's very specific ways that you do it. But absolutely anybody can. We've helped coaches that help trauma patients. Like if you've lost someone, like a death in the family, people would go, how could you make that funny?
Yeah.
But I think what people forget is we're not, like in that case, for example, you're not helping someone laugh at the fact that somebody's died in their family.
Yeah.
Like one of my students created an ad for a coach, and what they did, I'll give you an example, because you're probably like, how do you do that? How do you make funny ads for someone that's a coach that helps people that have lost someone? There's things around it that you make fun of. So for example, if you've ever lost someone, the people around you, they try to make you feel better. And some of the stuff that they say is pretty stupid. They're like,
I have one. Because recently experiencing with my father and then people mean well, but they say, if there's anything I can do, let me know. And I'm like, yo, just do it. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Like send the flowers, send the money, come give me a hug. I'll take it all, But anyway, that's
that's like the one thing that you're just like,
yeah.
Well, and then there's the like, and what my student had done, he had gone through one of my challenges and he came back with this ad and it was great. And it showed like the bartender, it said, you're probably tired of hearing this. And it shows the bartender, he's like, you just need a shot. And then it cuts to the other lady and she's like, the Lord just needed another angel, and then it cuts to the next verse. And it's just all the stuff that you hear, and it could go to the next thing, like you said, like, if there's anything I can do, just let me know, whatever. You're like, actually, I have a list of 5 things. Like, you're not going to do that, right? And then at the end, it says, if you're tired of, hearing these things, I'm an expert, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So you're making fun of the things like surrounding it, not the actual thing. You're not going to be like, remember when that person you love died? Wasn't that funny? You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to make fun of all the ridiculous things around it.
That's really good. There's a big discrepancy on people who should learn how to do basic ads themselves versus getting in and hiring an agency to run them. And I find people could waste a lot of money hiring an agency. But like, could you break down the basic, like tactfully? Because when we say online paid ads, we're saying Facebook ads for the most part?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I've done YouTube as well.
Okay, Facebook, Instagram, which by the way, Myron tried YouTube ads and it like killed his organic reach. And I don't know if that's like a theory, but that was his experience and it scared me to run YouTube ads. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say tactfully, like the basics of like running an ad, like what do you do? Because it's not facebook.com. I know this sounds super beginner, but like, can you just break down like, okay, you're going to create a clip on your phone using a hook, tell people what you do and the problem you solve. And then what website do you go to run an ad?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So we're going basic. All right.
Super basic.
Let's do it.
Because most people don't know this stuff.
Yeah, no, this is
and
great.
This is why ad agencies are overcharging people, I believe, because they hide behind this thing. And I imagine, I ran a few ads myself and it's like, why would Facebook make it hard to run an ad?
Right.
It's their way of generating revenue. But.
Right. Okay. So if you're wanting to run an ad, so I started out, I learned how to run ads, and then eventually now I don't run my ads anymore. So I work with a media buyer so I can focus on other things. But these are like the basics. So first you make an ad. Yep. I recommend saying, hi, I'm Omar. If you're having a hard time making video content that sells, I'm going to show you 3 ways to release your first video by this weekend. You could have your first client by this Saturday. So already we've created something measurable.
I'm stealing it.
Right? You take it, right? Like, hey, it's 3 things by this Saturday. So see, you're already like getting rid of all these objections where people are like, is it going to take me 10 years? Is it going to, I'm going to show you 3 things. So now you've blocked it out of their mind that there's 100 things.
Yep.
And it's by this Saturday. So you've blocked it out of their mind that it's not going to take them 10 years. And hey, I'm going to show you how to do it. And you've let them know, I'm going to teach you how to do video content. That sells. Good. So perfect. Done.
Or you like start whipping it up and then put it through ChatGPT and just have it cook.
Right out that script.
That's a good one.
And then so you can take that, and I always tell everyone add captions. It needs to have captions. There's so much data behind it that like 70% of people that are watching videos aren't even watching with the sound on.
Right.
Okay. And then if you want to run ads, okay, there's a simple way where you can just go boost a post. Okay. So that's what some people do. You just go boost a post. You can pick audiences. So for example, you can say, hey, you can look at you could do, there's different ways, there's different targeting. So there's interest targeting. Interest targeting would be, hey, I'm going to target someone that, reads Entrepreneur Magazine because they're probably someone that would be interested in doing this. I'm gonna target someone that has read this book or that book. Something. There's different newsletters. There's different. Facebook has different targeting, and it's constantly changing. Unfortunately,
Sure.
every time you open it, there's something different.
Could you put people who follow this person?
I don't know that you can do that anymore. You used to be able to do that years ago. They're always changing. You used to be able to choose how much money they make. Like this was back in the day. You used to be able to. Now you can choose certain area codes. So sometimes people choose different area codes. It's always changing.
Okay.
Again, I don't run the ads anymore.
Right.
So some of the stuff I'm going to say might have been last year and don't do it anymore. But so there's the interest targeting. But the way that I got like my first really big win was I had no audience when I started. Okay. And I was living in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico and I had no Wi-Fi. So I had no Wi-Fi, no cell phone service, nothing. So the way that I started out was I'd make a quick video on my phone. I'd wait till my mom got home from her school because I didn't have a car. And I would drive the car into town and I would upload the video onto the internet and I would put some money behind it. So I had absolutely no organic because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do challenges. You can't do anything when you don't have Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So I needed that video to sell whatever I was selling. And so I uploaded the video. And what I did was, it just so happened like maybe a month before, when I was living in Las Vegas, before I had moved to New Mexico to the farm where there was no Wi-Fi, I had done one affiliate promotion. And what I did was, because I didn't have an audience, nobody can buy your stuff if you don't have an audience. I reached out to like 1 million people on YouTube that were vocal coaches.
Wow.
Because at the time I came from music industry. So I was a musician. I used to sing and play the piano. I used to perform at all the casinos here. And but you can't do that when you're pregnant. I can't be like, hey everybody, let's dance. So I contacted this vocal coach and I said, hey, I made this course. I teach people how to book paid shows, even if there's my even if statement, even if they're not famous, even if they don't have a record deal, and even if they don't have a hit song.
Dang.
And so I said, I know you teach people how to sing. What's the next thing that they want to do? Well, they want to sing on stage, and I'm sure a lot of them would love to get paid for it. If you invite them to my webinar, I'll split it with you 50-50. And he said, sure. Okay, but now I emailed like 200 people before someone said yes. Okay, so one guy says yes. And so we did a webinar. I collected a few hundred leads and, from it. And we made like almost $5,000 that week. And I was like, wow.
Sweet.
Like $5,000 to me was like, oh my God, like this works, And I knew I had a product that people wanted. And I knew that, hey, this was a really cool way for me to get a few leads. So I added a few hundred people to my email. What's really cool is on Facebook, you could tell Facebook there's this thing called like lookalike audiences. They have stuff called A Advantage now. They have all kinds of stuff. Like AI does so much now. But back in the day, what I did was I created a lookalike audience and I said, Facebook, and you can still do this, it tracks what everybody's doing. It tracks what they're looking at. And I said, here's 200 people that came to this webinar. Send out my book, because at the time I was selling a book, to people that act like that. So it's called a lookalike. So anyone that looks like these people. And so it started sending out my offer to all these people that acted in the same way that they did.
Wow.
So it was awesome. So then it just started showing my ad to people and people started buying. And it grew and grew and grew and grew. And then all of a sudden it was like, wow, we made millions of dollars. That's kind of crazy.
So it's helpful to like have that list does help, get the ads to the right people.
Yeah. And and you can do that with paid ads too. I mean, like I would say the strategy was awesome. Hey, go, see if you can collaborate with an affiliate, build your email list. And now you have something to create lookalike audiences, but you test everything. You can test interest. A lot of people on Facebook are having really, really great, just using great results, just letting Facebook do its thing. Because now there's so much AI that just like goes through and some of them don't even put any interest, nothing. They just throw it in there. We test a lot of different things to see what works best. But you can go to like the best place to start is you just go to business.facebook.com. That's it. Business. And you set it up. I recommend, Facebook actually has like, they have like I think they have like some free courses and stuff, but even when you start, you can actually get on a phone with the rep and the rep will help you set up your account. So the rep will walk you through it. I mean, it's not as great as having like a media buyer, but they'll walk you through it. So you can get started and you don't have to spend a ton of money. Like I didn't have any money when I started.
Yeah. How much would you encourage somebody to, it's like there's this girl in my community. She's a loan officer and she wants to start doing a web class helping first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Like how much should she attribute right now?
So it depends. Okay. So like It depends on how much your offer costs. So the way I do it, everyone does it differently. But if something costs, let's say I'm selling a course, $1,000, I usually don't spend more than 2 or 3 to see if it's good. And then that's it. And if no one buys it, if I've spent 3 times what it, costs, I'm usually like, that's not a good offer, right? I'm going to do something else. And that's what I did when I first launched my course. My course, I spent like $2,000 or $3,000. It's a $1,000 course. It's like, this isn't working. So then I released a $19 book, and we were getting, it took 3 days to get, and I think we spent, I don't remember. It was like, I didn't spend much, because I think the first day that I had started getting sales, it was $60. And I had made like $80. And so then the next day I spent $80, and then I made like 120, and then I spent 120, and I made like 200, and I just kept reinvesting it. And by the end of the month, I had spent about $12K, but I'd made about $40,000. This was no high ticket, no webinars, no challenges, no one-on-ones, no phone calls. It was just selling to a $19 book. So I was selling really high volumes.
Wow.
I was selling a lot. We've sold like 50,000 books now independently, no publishing company or anything like that. Just straight ad to funnel. And that was it. But it was created an offer that people wanted. We solved a problem. I say we, like as if I had a team. It was literally just me and my son. And created these dumb videos with my cell phone that I posted online, and people were like, and people liked them. But, and it was just communicating that we're solving a problem in a more entertaining way than they're used to seeing.
That's really good. And I'll take that trade any day.
Yeah.
Is that 12K for 40? That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That'll ruin you.
What's that?
That'll ruin you.
Well, it ruins your expectations, because then you're like, is this always going to be like this?
And how long ago was that? Like,
that was in 2019. Okay.
And then from then, like, what would you say the biggest like shift has been in paid ads since then to now?
Yeah. It's definitely gotten more expensive.
Okay.
But you have to be more creative then, like I think you didn't have to be as creative back then. So you do. And sometimes people have to add, you might have to build out your value ladder a little bit more now. You got to be a little bit more creative than other people, but definitely has gotten a little bit more expensive. But the thing is, there's also more tools now. So I've seen it work. I do very little organically. I'm a mom. So that's why, look, if organic's great, do it, but organically, you have to post lots of content.
Yep.
For me, I liked the fact that I could do one piece of content and then just let that go make money for me. Like that was what, while I'm breastfeeding, while I'm being a mom, after this, I'm taking my son to jujitsu. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're doing. And then we're going to go swimming, and we're doing, all the craziness and of being a parent. And I'm busier with parenthood than I am with my business. And that's what I wanted. I'm good. Lifestyle business for me, right? Yeah. I want to be a mom. And so for me, it was like, okay, I could either post every day and do all this and do all that, or I could do one piece of content. Right now, we run our challenges. I think the ads that we're running right now, almost all of them except for one. No, all of them. All of them for the challenge that we're doing are about 1.5 years old. We're using the same content. I haven't made a new ad in 1.5 years, and we're still running it. I had one ad. We've also done e-commerce. I have a cologne company that we create ads and do all the infrastructure for. And I have an ad that ran for 4 years. 4 years. And I shot it on my cell phone in the backyard on the farm. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's cologne. Just like, hey, do you want to smell good? And it's literally just in the backyard, and it's shot on like an iPhone 6. It's not even like nice. It looks like crap. It's like for 4 years, it,
That's crazy.
Brought in money profitably.
It's such a different way to look at it. And I guess my devil's advocate brain says, well, if you build it on paid ads, then doesn't that mean you have to sustain it on paid ads?
So I built this huge following. I have like 100,000 people on my email list. So, once you have your list, do you have to go run paid ads? You don't, but why wouldn't you if it's profitable?
Yep.
Right. So that's what's wonderful about it. So it's not have to, it's I get to. I get to keep building. I haven't even made a new video in 1.5 years. You know what I mean? Like I would never be like, oh man, I have to not make a video. It's like, I get to not make a video and still just rinse and repeat this stuff that works for me. And that's not always the case. Like we've done like ads for different companies, and sometimes they have a lifeline of like 6 weeks. But if you make a lot of money in those 6 weeks, nobody's complaining, right? So it's really like, is it really good? Is it making money? That's really, at the end of the day, we're business owners. Each of us have different goals financially and lifestyle wise. for me, I just didn't want to be working all the time. I didn't want to be stressed out. You know, if you're stressed out, you snap at your kids.
Yep.
Even those little things. I'm like, I don't want to be snapping at my son. I don't want him to want to show me something on his Nintendo and me be like, I'm sorry, I can't. I love that I can be like, you know, let me check out your Mario Party. Let's race real quick, you know, and we make ads together. He was actually in an ad that we did for Russell Brunson. So we did an ad and it was really cool. We actually, it was for Funnel Hacking Live. And after they got the results back, they called and they were like, you doubled all of our traffic. So of all their ads, the ads that we did with me and my son, we doubled their traffic. And it was awesome. We had a great time. And of course, love, you know, Russell and ClickFunnels. They've had such a huge impact on my life. So it was really cool to be like, man, we created something awesome for them.
Hey, department fam, wanted to take a brief break from this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is that, did you know that 75% of the people that watch this podcast on YouTube actually aren't subscribed, which is a high chance that you're not subscribed. So number one, I want to say thank you for listening or watching the podcast. And number two, if you can hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. The second thing is, if you are an entrepreneur, content creator, or somebody looking to make money online, I want to encourage you to come to this online event called the Content to Cash Challenge. This is a special 5-day event that's going to give you access to the system I use in my business to make multiple 6 figures with my content. If you've been desiring to either get your business and brand more exposure, grow a YouTube channel, whatever it is when it comes to video, I would encourage you to jump into the Content to Cash Challenge. We'll be sure to post the link to the challenge down in the show notes or the description. And I want to encourage you to jump into the VIP experience. This will give you access to a 1-hour Q&A call every day of the challenge. This will guarantee myself to answer a personalized question you may have. So I'll see you on the Content to Cash Challenge. Now let's jump back into the conversation. So like, you know, great ad to a great offer. I would imagine you're probably really good at selling one-to-many.
I don't think I'm really that great. I'm not really that good at it.
Because my brain's like, how do people get to the place of trusting you from seeing you from an ad? And maybe they haven't seen organic and stuff like that. So like,
right.
Yeah.
No,
how do you get them to trust you quickly?
Yeah, I don't do any closing techniques. I've never had any like sales training or anything like that. I think there's a couple things, right? What I always tell everyone is I don't make huge promises. I made my first few $1 million off of telling people that I was going to help them get their music. I'd show them how to get their music published in magazines and get it maybe on some podcasts or, you know, different things like that. Newsletters. Those aren't big promises. Mm-hmm. When you make huge promises, like you're like, I'm going to make you a millionaire tomorrow, you know, someone's going to be like, I don't trust that person. So for me, what I did, my very first product was a book, and the book was a list. It was a list of festivals that pay artists to perform. So there's all these festivals. We've done some research. And so it wasn't, I promise you, you're going to get a gig. It was, here's a list of festivals that pay artists to perform. That was my promise. My promise wasn't, you're going to get paid. What if you suck? In fact, that's what I said. I said, if you suck, you will not book a show, right? It's like, there's all these things. And then inside the book, I had all these trainings on, hey, this is how I booked shows. I toured all over the world. So it's like, this is how I did it. But it took me many years. I was like homeless. I slept in my car, like all the whole starving artist thing. I bathed in a gas station. So I'm like, this is what I was doing wrong when I was bathing in the gas station. Once I started touring around the world, this is what I was doing right. So this is what you should do. And then here's the list of the festivals. Now it's time for you to reach out. So I made these small promises. Well, you gain people's trust when you make small promises.
That's good.
I see a lot of people that I know for a fact haven't done the thing that they're saying that they help you do. And people can feel that.
Yep.
You know, when you're saying, I help you make 8 figures, and you've never made 8 figures, or you've never, you know, you just are regurgitating what information or whatever course you took last week because you want people to think you're successful. People feel that. And for me, it was like, hey, I'm just going to, like, for me, I just say, I'm going to show you how to make some funny ads. I've happened to make millions of dollars with it, but I'm not promising you that you're going to make $1 million. I promise that after this challenge, I will show you you're going to know how to make funny ads. That's it. Yep. So I just make small promises. And I think that that's a big thing.
That's really good.
So people just learn, they trust me because, hey, I'm going to make a small promise. And I always tell everybody, like, sure, these are my results and here's some other cool results, but we never know. I mean, there's so many factors. So at the end of the day, I think it's really powerful for us to make small promises through our journey with our customers and really deliver and over deliver.
Yep. So you were saying, I was testing and I just realized for a year or two that the offer wasn't right. What's your definition of an offer?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I don't know that I have like a wonderful way of saying what
It doesn't have to be wonderful.
Yeah,
it has to be funny though.
Yeah, it has to be funny. Oh man, it's really like my winning offer. Again, was a small promise, but it was the fastest way that somebody could get a result. Right? What makes someone feel like they like 3 days? I'm going to show you how to lose 5 pounds in 5 days. That's a fantastic offer because I'm going to show you how to get a small win in a small amount of time with a small amount of effort. I love those types of offers. It's not, you're going to take this course and 6 months from now, maybe you're going to know how to do this. And maybe in 3 years, you're going to have this. And that's great. There's a lot of things that you are going to take you 6 months to 1 year to 3 years. I don't like to open my audience. So if I'm being introduced to someone and they've never known me for the first time with an offer like that, I like to give someone a really quick win where I'm going to show you how to make a funny ad, even if you're not funny, if you're boring, and even if your business is boring. Very easy. And I'm going to show you how to do it in 3 steps. And you're going to know how to do it by the end of this 3-day challenge.
Boom.
It's great. Or, hey, I'm going to show you how to book a paid show, even if you don't have a record label, a hit song, or a fan base. And you're going to be able to book it by this weekend. 7 days. That was my first webinar, how to book a gig in 7 days. So a very measurable event. So very quick wins. I like quick wins. And then I can show you how to do all the other stuff that might take a while for you to have.
Like the skills part.
Yeah. So now if you want those big corporate shows where you're getting paid $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, yeah, we got to work towards those. But in the meantime, my first offer when it came to the shows part of it was, I'm going to show you how to make like $200 or $300 a night. I made millions of dollars off showing people, just being honest with people, this is how to make $200 to $300 a night.
I love
I wasn't really there like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this and do that. I was just trying to make money to buy diapers for my son. So I didn't care what anybody thought about me. I didn't care about nothing. Because a lot of people ask that too. How do you not care what, you're over there doing whatever in the videos? It's like, first of all, that's me and that's my personality. But second, when you have kids, I didn't care. Right. I didn't even think about what people thought about me. Like, I got to take care of that little guy. That was really it.
I hope what people are catching is like, you're helping somebody with such a specific little win. And I think people think specific is insignificant when, because it's measurable, really internally from the buyer's point of view, there's that trust that gets built just from the words you're using. But I think that should encourage people to, the more I've heard, the more specific you are, the more prolific. And people they open up their ears when they hear something that they can achieve,
Yeah, no, I really like that because I think we see all the other people online going, I'm going to show you how I did $100 million yesterday. We start thinking, do we need to be like that? Do we need to do these huge things? And that's great if you know how to do it, if you've actually done it. I always joke that a lot of people are like, how do you get over imposter syndrome? Don't do anything that you're not an imposter with. Like I always tell everyone, I'm like, if I told you, go make a course about throwing the trash out, would you be like, no, I feel like I'm an imposter? No, because you know how to throw the trash out. You feel like an imposter because you are one. Pick something that you know how to do. Like, you know how to do that. Like, I knew how to book shows. I had traveled for almost 10 years. So it was nothing for me to say, yeah, this is what you do. These are like the 3 steps. Go do it. I never felt like an imposter. Or, hey, I've been on NBC and Fox and CBS. I've booked myself on TV shows that I didn't pay for, that I didn't hire a PR agency to do, that I didn't know the guy at the TV station. I've done that. So I can show you how to do that. And it can be small wins and you can make millions of dollars teaching people how to do small things. And there's something magnificent about that.
When it comes to like offer creation, like before I think we hit record, you were saying how like, yeah, I had an offer and I just told people this is the offer. And somebody was like, but what if, she was like had a hedge or something. It was somebody and you're like, man, if I'm not your person, whatever, but people did take the next step, which means the offer was a good offer because people said yes to it.
Right.
Give me some more game on offer.
Okay. So what you're talking about is like my high ticket offer, which is a little different.
Okay.
I start out my introduction to people with I do low ticket. So I start with low ticket. And
can you give me a price range of what?
Yeah, low ticket's usually up to $97.
Cool.
So most of my products are around $19. Like, hey, I sell a list, I sell a book, I sell this or I sell that, promising a small win. I build their trust. The funnel's profitable on the front end. I know a lot of people that lose money on the front end of that, and that's fine. Maybe they're selling a high ticket offer on the back end. That's fine. But I only do stuff where I'm profitable on the front end. I want money now. That's how I like to do it. And I don't want to have to work later. I don't want to have to do high ticket if I don't want to. I have a child. I have a 5-year-old. So it's a little different for me. So, but with the high ticket, I just launched a mastermind a couple weeks ago. So what earlier our conversation was, I was talking about when people join a mastermind is different because you're actually trusting in the leader.
Yeah.
It's different. Now everyone has a different problem because they're not starting out. Anybody that's going to be in my mastermind already has a business.
Sure.
They already are making money. Now they're just saying, how do I make more money? And so now I'm going to look at everyone's business. There's not a one size fits all. And so now the story that I told you earlier was someone was asking a lot of questions and someone was like, well, I need a guarantee. And it's like, well, if you need a guarantee, just don't join because there's no guarantee. Like, and I'm not going to talk you into this. Like my conversation was, I'm not going to talk you into this for my own sanity. I'm not talking you into this because I won't enjoy this. If you're excited about this and you want to join, awesome. We can talk about it. If you're not excited, I'm not talking you into this. A mastermind, that type of offer, we're going to work together for a whole year. If it's someone, my partner, Kevin Nations, we actually launched it together. He always says people live in excuse land. I'm like, if someone lives in excuse land, I don't even want to work with them, right? Because for me, it's hard for me to have sympathy. It's impossible when you already know it's hard. Like there's ups and downs, you figure it out. For me, I was living on the farm with no Wi-Fi, no cell phone service, single mom, like all this stuff. And I never felt bad for myself. I never thought it was going to be hard. I never sat there and said, oh, poor me. I never thought that. I just thought, okay, this is my decisions led me here. My decisions can lead me out. So I need to make better decisions. And so when people come to me with the mastermind and they, a young lady, she paid last week. She paid us. And I had one conversation with her. It took about 5 minutes. And I said, let's make you an extra $20,000 this week. And she made more than that by the following Tuesday. So it took her 8 days. So she made her entire investment back in 8 days. But when she called me, she said, I'm worried. What's in it? And I said, you know what? You either trust in the leadership or you don't. And if you don't trust in the leadership, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would advise you not to join. I'm going to look at your business. I'm going to tell you to do something. And you're just going to need to do it, And so she signed up. And so really at the end of the day, when you're doing like the high ticket stuff, I don't talk people into stuff. I don't have like a sales team. I don't do the whole objection handling. I never have because I don't want someone to sign up that isn't excited about being there because it's going to be hell for me. And so, but I've also, I created my business in that way that I don't rely on high ticket. High ticket, yes, I make a lot of money there, but I also make plenty of money doing low ticket, making small promises. So my first priority is having fun and being happy and being in a good mental state. And whenever you work with like a not so great customer, it does not make your life experience very enjoyable. And I'm like, it's just not worth it.
They say if you have to drag them in, you have to drag them around.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That's right on point.
But it's like, you just got to know at the beginning, like when somebody is difficult, it's not like they're going to become easy.
No.
It's just the way they kind of are,
And if they're giving you excuses as to why they haven't been successful yet, hey, it's because the world isn't fair. My daddy did this when I was 5 years old or whatever it is. They're going to keep giving you excuses and then they're going to blame you.
Yeah. As
they're going through your program. It's like, I don't want none of that.
What is your thoughts on courses in 2025?
Oh man. I don't make the majority of my money off courses. So it's hard for me to know, but I know I still buy courses. So I still do. I still release my front end offers. I sell mini courses. And those have done just fine for us. Brought in lots of leads, have been profitable for us. So I haven't seen any like big change from my end or anything like that. I do affiliate promotions with other people where they promote my course and I promote their course, and seems to me just fine. But again, like I know some people are like, I'm trying to take over the world. I'm not trying to take over the world. Like I'm just trying to live a happy life and take care of my son. So maybe you ask someone else, they're going to be like, oh, I was making $1 billion. Now I'm only making 100 million, whatever. I'm just like, hey, I've in my life, I've been very responsible with also the money that I've earned, and I've put it in things that make me a lot of passive income. So I'm at a place where I actually don't have to work anymore. I could live off of my passive income. So for me now, I'm in a wonderful place where I can choose the things that make me happy and bring joy to myself. And I know that passes along to my son. So again, that's just what I'm always thinking of. But as far as I know, I mean, we're still making money off the courses. So I don't know. Maybe they're going down. Maybe they're going up.
I think you said something that was good. I think mini courses is the key. Because I think I feel like people know themselves enough now that they're not going to go through like an academy.
Yeah.
At one point, people are willing to make that purchase, but it's becoming harder because more people know themselves, I find.
Well, and the quickest way that you can get someone to a result, like I know a lot of people, like this is one thing I do tell people about in your ads, not to do. They think that if we give people more, that it's worth more. Nobody cares that your course has 35 modules. Like, right. I don't care. Like, if you tell me that you're giving me, like I was looking at this course the other day and they said it comes with like 500 hours of material. I'm like, I don't want to go through 500 hours of material. I want to know the fastest way to get from A to Z.
Right.
And so whenever we speak, we need to speak about the results that we give, not the journey. Not, I'm going to give you 35 modules and 400 hours, and I worked so hard on this. Nobody cares. How about I'm going to show you how to lose 5 pounds in 5 days, and I'm going to teach you how to do it all in 60 minutes. That sounds like a great offer. Like, that's awesome. And you don't have to go through all this stuff. I'm going to teach you in 1 hour. Wouldn't you rather have that? So instead of focusing on like all the bells and whistles and all the things inside of like the course, what's the fastest way that we can get to it? So if an opposite way to promote your course would be, hey, I'm going to show you how to do it in like only 7 videos. All you have to do is watch 7 videos. Watch 1 video a day. By the end of the week, you'll know exactly how I bought my first property, even though I didn't have a down payment and even though I had bad credit.
Hey, question for you. Are you somebody who is looking to start creating content, or maybe you currently create content, but all the gear and the tech just overwhelms you? If so, I wanted to let you know about our sponsor for this podcast, Ulanzi. Whether you're creating content with your smartphone, a camera, or just trying to take your Zoom calls to the next level, Ulanzi has everything you need to make your setup look and sound professional. I've been using their gear myself, and honestly, it's been a complete game changer for my content. You can check them out at ulanzi.com/Omar, and we've got some amazing picks for you. And also, if you look at the description below, we have a special promo code that will give you 12% off your entire order. Big thanks to Ulanzi for sponsoring this episode and helping us create. I find that like probably most of my like free content could just literally be in like a different format or the same format. It's just sitting behind like an offer or a landing page or something. Because a lot of the content, I don't have a filter with my podcast. I literally, my only filter is the limitation of the actual video itself. Like, it only makes sense to upload a 90-minute video, 2 hours maybe, but that's really pushing it. But anyway, that's giving. I'm super inspired. You said you like invest in stuff. Was real estate that thing for you?
Oh, I have. Yeah, I've invested in real estate. I used to have, back in the day in LA, I had multiple hostels.
Oh, wow.
So it was totally illegal. Like, there was like, I had so bad. I was young. Okay. I had like 4, 5, 6 bunk beds in like a 1-2 bedroom apartment in Hollywood, and I did that multiple times. Just like, I was just, serial entrepreneur.
Sure.
Now I own properties and that sort of thing. And I have a bunch of different investment stocks and, all the cool stuff, the IRAs and all that good stuff. But that was something that I learned. I learned, hey, as you make money, what you do with your money.
That's the real game.
That's the crazy thing, because what I did with my money was I didn't go floss. I didn't go do those things. I set up to where, I remember when I looked at my son last year and I was like, you're a millionaire. That's the craziest thing. My family comes from Mexico. My grandfather used to swim across the river every day to work in this country.
Dang.
And I think to be able to look at my 4-year-old, at the time he was 4, and be like, you're a millionaire because of, one, that we're in this country. Amazing. Love America. Right? But to be able to have access to the knowledge that I had, and to be given the opportunity to have the internet, which gave me access to the entire world. And that I took on the belief that whatever choices I made was going to create the life that I had, and not blame the world for XYZ, or because I'm a single mom, minority, or whatever. I never thought that. I thought it's all about what I do with what I have, And so I think that was probably one of those most powerful things. It's like all the decisions, because my life was, when you end up single mom in a farm, you go, what did I do to get here?
Yeah.
These were my decisions. I did it. So I got to make some better decisions coming out of here. So, yeah.
So 2018, 2019, you were like so far removed from where you're at now.
Yeah.
And what was the moment? Like, was it a video you saw? Like, how do you get, even not having internet and stuff or what have you, like, how do you even get access to that information?
Yeah. So first I was living in Vegas in the garage.
Okay.
So I did have internet
Dude,
there.
I need to live in a garage. 'Cause everyone who's lived in a garage at one point in their life, like,
I know
is
you have like
freaking
Steve
killing it.
Jobs,
Yeah.
you're like Bill Gates. Like
Yeah,
I
they
used
all
to
got
be like,
garages,
all
bro.
kinds of-
Dang, that's crazy. You could probably drive to that right now. And it's
Yeah.
still, that's
Yeah.
actually unreal.
Yeah, I lived in the garage. And a
Okay.
few people lived in that garage.
And it's
actually.
hot
Yeah,
in
it was
Vegas.
hot. It was
Yeah.
hot. And I was like all depressed, you know what I mean? I'm like all fat and I'm just like laying there and I'm just like, this sucks, you know? And then, but what had happened was I started, I read just a couple books. I knew that people were making money from their laptops. So I knew that
Okay.
it was possible.
What were the books?
Well, the first book that helped me understand that you could make money fast was 1 Minute Millionaire. It's Mark Victor Hansen's fantastic book. It was just
Dude, these promises, that's fire. I mean, that makes me want to read it. 1 Minute Millionaire.
so good.
Yeah.
And it was like a story plus like tactics. And it's actually, I was inspired by it to write my book.
Okay.
So in my book, I included stories, how I learned the thing, and then how the reader can actually apply the thing. And so I was like, this was really great. And so I read 1 Minute Millionaire. And then I decided that I was going to release a book. I was like, I'm going to become a millionaire off of a book. And then a friend of mine was like, have you ever heard of this guy named Russell Brunson? I was like, no, I'd never tell me about him. And he sent me this book called Expert Secrets. And I read Expert Secrets. And it basically just said, the thing that you're good at, you can teach the world. Do you have something that people would pay you to teach them how to achieve? And I was like, you know what? I've toured the world as a musician. I've made a living as a musician. And at the time I had already been working with artists. I'd got them booked on tours. I got a record deal for a group that didn't even have one song recorded. I got them signed to Capitol Records.
Dang.
And I was like, man, I've done this. You know, I could do this. Absolutely. And so in his book, he just had these are the steps. So I just did it. That was it. It was like, here's what you do. So I did what he said. And then now I'm here.
That's so good. Shout out to Russell.
Yeah, Russell. Oh my God. Russell Brotzhead.
Okay. So how I made $1 million with a toilet and a cell phone.
Yes.
The even when life
Yes.
hands you crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
building a business from scratch online, what would be like your breakdown?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, simply like what we talked about. First, you have to have a good offer, solve a problem, even if it's a small problem, and then let the world know that you solved that problem.
Do you have an example of somebody that wouldn't believe the offer you helped them create? Kind of like your music one. It's kind of like that. It's like, I can't believe that kind of offer could make somebody a millionaire.
Ooh. We've had, there was a young woman named, Cynthia Colon came through. She teaches high school students how to write college essays. Very simple. She had never released a funnel online, and I just gave her my funnel. And I'm like, copy it, make it look exactly like this, but just put your offer. And she copied it. She did $5,049 her first week, just selling $47 books.
Whoa.
And then the next week, she kept selling, right? Because she's selling the $47 books. But because people were starting to trust her, then she got her first $4,000 client, who, her high ticket client, to work with them one-on-one. And then CBS reached out to her and asked her to be on their TV. They were seeing her funny ads that she was making with her cell phone. So it's really cool because you think about that. That's not even like a make money offer. That's just hey, I'm going to show you how to write a college essay.
Yep.
Really simple. But it was very like, hey, let me show you another thing that she had in her funnel was, I'm going to show you winning essays. So I'm going to give you examples of winning essays. So if someone bought the book, then they could also buy the winning essays pack. I don't know what it was called, but maybe that was another $47 or something. And now you have someone that spent $100 with you. So it's just like asking yourself in the funnel, if someone is willing to buy, this list, like even with my list, it was a list of festivals. Then I also sold, hey, here's a list of record labels. Because I also said, well, they probably also might want to get a record deal. So you ask, what's the next thing that could help them also achieve whatever they're trying to achieve, and then offer that too. And then offer the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then eventually, I offered coaching and all that sort of thing. But
that's really good. I mean, and that's very encouraging because I think sometimes people get stuck on like, my money needs to help somebody make money, or my offer needs to help somebody make money. But you can have a result offer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So have a good offer. You're starting your business.
Yes. Have a good offer. And then let the world know what the offer is. It's like those two things: make a good offer and then let the world know. That's it. If you solve a problem And I don't know if you've heard this saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but something about whoever solves the most problems makes the most money, or whoever solves the biggest problems makes the most money. If you have a cure for an incurable disease, people are going to pay anything and everything for it. If you have a, and that's for that's a big offer. Or if you saw, the iPhone.
Yep.
It's like a computer in your pocket. Like, we don't have to pay photographers anymore. Like, the camera on my iPhone is so good. I don't even pay photographers anymore, solved so many problems, and that $1 billion company now, so it's like, do we solve a problem that a lot of people have, or do we solve a problem that someone would pay a lot of money to solve?
Yeah.
And then also, do we solve a problem that rich people have? If you solve a problem that wealthy people have, they have the money to pay you.
Yep.
For me, musicians actually didn't have a lot of money. So me selling these $19, $47, half the people would come on my Zoom room. I'm not even lying. This one guy was living in a tent in the forest, and I could see him in my Zoom room as he was like making food on his fire. I was like, bro's here on the Zoom room in the forest from his tent, People would be chiming in from their mom's basement. They didn't have any money. So what I focused on was offering a product that didn't cost as much money, but selling a lot of them. So I had to create video content that grabbed a lot of attention.
So good. Okay. So good offer, solves a problem. And then what? Just like rinse and repeat that.
That's it.
That's it.
Make an offer that solves a problem, and then let the world know that you solved that problem.
How do you come up with creative ways to talk about the problem you solved differently, rather than being like a broken record?
Yeah. So do you ever just sit around and joke with your friends and you're like, oh my God, wouldn't that be funny if we turned that into a skit? Like, wouldn't that be funny if so that's all I do. So whenever I'm sitting there talking with my family, I'm like, oh my God, that'd be so funny. I write it down, so like, for example, we, one of our funny ads, the book, I say how I made $1 million with a toilet and a cell phone. I looked in my backyard and there was a toilet. So I just use whatever I have. Again, I'm not usually going to go, at the time, again, I'm living surrounded by farmland. There's like pecan orchards and stuff around there. Nothing to do with the music industry. And I saw the toilet and I say, okay, how do I use the toilet in an ad? And so then my brother was there and I was like, brother, go sit on the toilet. And what we're going to do is we're going to make fun of people that are sitting on the toilet for so long when they could have been promoting themselves online and they could have been getting their music out there. So the whole thing was, there was like some oranges and there was like a horse and a lawnmower. And so I start out and I'm just like sitting on a horse and I'm like, hey, what are you doing right now? You're probably just hanging around because, it's COVID, but you could have been promoting your music, and then I start juggling and I start pushing this lawnmower. It's all this stupid stuff. I'm just showing them that they're probably doing a bunch of stupid stuff instead of promoting their music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're probably sitting on the toilet like Harry over here, and Harry's like, hey, and I'm like, when you could have been, and then I had my little whiteboard. I'm like, dude, you could have been promoting your stuff to 4,596 blogs and websites. And so that's when I talk about my website. So don't be like Harry, and he's like, hey, I'm like, get our list of websites. So it's just looking around at what you have and saying, how could I use this? Or maybe you would just have access to a gym and you're like, hey, are you working too hard in your business? Does it feel like you're having to lift weights every day? Just what could you, it's almost like a game show, like looking around at what you have and saying, well, how could I use this or that? I use my son in our videos, the ad that we did for Funnel Hacking Live. I said, you know what? And I'm joking. I'm going like, it's called an anti-testimonial ad is what I call it. It's where you're complaining about having all the things that you want. So in it, I'm like, do not join Funnel Hacking Live. I'm so successful now that I don't even know what to do with all my money, stuff like that. And I'm like, and now my son, how am I supposed to teach him about, hard work now? He thinks that money comes easy, stuff like that. So my son's just sitting there like living his best life, So looking at ways how to use your children and how to use the people around you. So it's just I'm just always in this mode of like creating and, oh, that was funny. Or if I hear something funny, I write it down. And then I just think of how can I use that in an ad?
Funny. You're so soft-spoken, but like when you turn it on,
Yeah.
It's like you're legit a performer. So good. I really want to encourage people to check out how I made $1 million with a toilet and a cell phone. But how else can other people connect with you or follow you? I know you said you got a boot camp thing you got going on.
Yeah. So they can go to toiletandacellphone.com if they want to get the book.
There you go.
So we send the book out there, toiletandacellphone.com. And then I have a couple different challenges. We have the challenge where I show people how to make funny ads, and that's makeadswithai.com. And then we have our upcoming challenge that I'm doing. I said I just launched a mastermind with Kevin Nations. We created a group called Have Fun, Get Rich. And the whole point is we teach people the DLR method, which is how to be dumb, lazy, and rich. So dumb people are rich because they're not overcomplicating things. Lazy people are rich because they're pretty much doing the same thing. They're showing you how to get to a result faster, and they're doing it in their own business. So the DLR method. So if you go to dumblazyrich.com too. So and that's our.
I'll post a link in the description.
Okay.
Give me some affiliate links.
Yes, I will.
All right, turn up.
I'll connect you.
And then she actually hooked me up with some chips. Like she has a chip company and she has salsa.
Yes.
You're arguably one of the most fascinating human beings that's ever been on the podcast, high key.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, and your story is really inspiring, and it's cool watching you mom. Like I saw you take your son around the world earlier this year, and sweet little boy.
Thank you.
His name's London, right?
Yes, London.
Why is his name London?
I just thought it was a cool name. There was no significance.
Okay,
I just
cool.
liked it. I'm like, your name is London. We're keeping it simple.
Yeah, and like legit, like I know you said you live by the church, but it'd be cool if you checked out.
I would love to.
I'll give you all the details and stuff. But thanks for being on. We'll put links down in the description with all the things, and grateful you. I'd love to do like a part 2 on some like deeper stuff, because I know this was for you. It was just like open at the top, beginner stuff. But I'd like to get pretty ninja.
Yeah, I'm down. Let me know when.
Since Vegas, locals turn up.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go.